This is the Chrissy Swan Show.
We are welcoming a bona fide Australian icon into the studio today. Elle Macpherson, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, it's so good to be here. And what purposeful reason to be here too, which is to share the celebration of my book.
Of your book. And yet another feather in your cap. You can add writer to your job description.
Well, how about just life adventurer and willing to share? You know, I hope the book becomes a useful tool of, you know, perspectives and support for people who read the book and recognize that their life is so worth living.
Yeah. I love that you didn't just sort of take the easy road in writing a book and telling amazing, incredible, glittering stories, that they are in there, but the learnings is what you want to
That's the most
express.
important thing for me, was the journey to get to know yourself, the journey from your head to your heart, and also the concept that every experience is a valuable gift and is worthwhile, you know, is worthwhile living. And as we grow and learn through our experiences, because you can't do it in your head. We can't have philosophies on life. It's all about how we live our life and how life teaches us. And everybody's life, and my book isn't about my life, although my life's journey is the conduit for the story, but it's about your life, Chrissy. It's about everybody's life, because life, we magnetize experiences into our life for us to learn. And it's beautiful and it's unique. Everybody's life is unique, so they're going to have unique experiences and unique learnings from those experiences.
When you go through hard times, as we all do, have you found your whole life that you've really been able to step up to those, or do you crumble?
Now therein lies the whole purpose of the book. You know, I think it's about having the courage, and that's what we have as Aussies anyway. It's that give it a go attitude to work through the things, whether they're uncomfortable or comfortable, you know, the highs and the lows, but to have the courage to walk through them and come out the other end with the valuable lessons that you learned from that experience.
Do you believe there is such a thing as a mistake?
Absolutely no mistakes in life. The only mistake is refusing to learn.
Yeah.
And every experience gives us an opportunity to learn if we choose to.
Whenever anything goes wrong for me, I go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. This is exciting.
Well, that's a good fabulous. So, and that's really what makes a fulfilled life, to find joy in all the moments. And as I said, you know, there have been many highs and many lows in my life, but they've all been super valuable, and I've learned from them, and that's what I share in Elle.
I thought if I ever got to meet you, because this is the first time I've ever met you, and I just can't believe my eyes. Well, can you believe it, Jack?
I know.
Holy shit. Elle Macpherson
Is in the house.
Yes.
Macpherson.
And I've got to say,
in chapter 6, you read about that.
as iconic as ever, your outfit's everything, your glasses are everything, you're everything I imagined.
I put them on for you, baby.
You did, thank you.
Magic head to toe.
The Chrissy Swan Show.
One Pass is now available at Priceline Pharmacy, and Sister Club members are getting exclusive access to boosted perks. Start your free 30-day trial today.
Learn more at priceline.com.au/onepass. TC's eligibility criteria and exclusions apply.
The Chrissy Swan Show.
I always thought if I ever got to meet you, I wanted to tell you something that's annoyed me ever since the first time I saw you when you were basically a teenager. You are so smart and so accomplished, and you have this body of businesses and entrepreneurial stuff and philanthropy, and now you're a writer, all of this stuff. I mean, you're just like, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and you're a success at everything. It always annoyed me that you're referred to as the body, because it just negates everything that's up here. It's annoyed me. Has it ever annoyed you?
That's so sweet. First of all, listen, I believe that when something resonates with you, like in your heart, when you feel that excitement, when an opportunity comes up and you love what you do, you will be successful. And I always say to my boys, find what you love and do it. And do it relentlessly and do it the best you can and do it with all your heart's passion and joy and, receive the sense of fulfillment that you can have from doing what you love and it doesn't feel like work. And because of that, you'll be successful because the love and the joy that you put into what you're doing and experience in what you're being in your environment will bring you success. So the body was a really clever moniker that Time coined back in 1986. And contrary to what most people might think, instead of seeing it as something negative, I just went, wow, how can I use that? That's a really interesting thing to be able to kind of capitalize on in some way or to lean into. And to not take it as an offense, but to really go, hey, I've got an opportunity here. And see it as the wide, beautiful potentiality that it actually truly was. And, to be, I don't want to say proud, but to enjoy that.
Do you associate the body with who you are?
Absolutely, because we can't compartmentalize our physical and mental, emotional and spiritual beings. It's impossible and it's unwise to do that anyway. That sort of fractured way of living life is what got me into hot water in the first place. I was like, okay, you fit in that box, you fit in that box, all parts of yourself. And we are a whole light being and a spiritual being really within a body. So the body's extremely important as is our hearts and our innocence and the capacity to love. So it's to not to try to negate any of that, but to embrace it all so we can live the most magnificent lives possible.
I just love what a hippie you are. I just love it. I love it. Coming from the glittering world of international modelling.
A bit of woo-woo in there is heaven.
It's just total woo-woo.
Well, not really. I mean, it's articulating it in this way at this moment, but these are the principles and the philosophies that I have lived by all my life. And sometimes in a more conscious way and sometimes in a less conscious way. And today I just feel so grateful to be here and be talking with you guys about what I feel is really important for everybody, not just for me.
We're grateful too. We can't believe our eyes.
There's a chapter in the book which is out today, Elle. You must go and get it. It is a fantastic read. And at the start of the chapter, Hollywood, you talk about how you referred to yourself as an accidental actress. And you talk about that first time you lined up for an audition and how you thought it wasn't really for you. Then you ended up moving to LA. You embraced it. What did acting teach you and sort of give you that modelling didn't? What did you take from acting?
That's and that's why there's a whole chapter on it, because I learned so much. But the most important thing was what is not said, what's in between the lines. The intention of every action is as important as what is said, what is done. And that is captured on the movie camera, whereas modelling is so much more kind of, I don't want to say two-dimensional, but it's quite creative, artistic from a visual aesthetics point of view. Whereas film, it really has a lot to do with the energy that you are carrying within you when you play a scene. And also with modelling, your emphasis is on the camera. And you work towards the camera, creating the best images, co-creating with your photographer the best images. But in acting, the camera's sort of a witness. And so it's a little bit like life. It's about being present in the moment. That's where the value in acting is.
The Chrissy Swan Show. The Chrissy Swan Show.
Speaking of the relationship between photographer and subject, which photograph did your ex take? The front or
Jill
the back?
took the front.
Yeah.
And Ellen von Unworth took the back.
Took the back. So you are still close with your ex.
I am.
Yes, and I am too. And I think what surprises me most about that situation is it feels very natural and right and kind to me. And the amount of people that do not understand how you could possibly do that is astonishing. Have you faced that as well? People are like, how do you do that?
I've been very fortunate because fortunate's not really the word. I made a choice. I made a choice. You know, love is love. And just because you love somebody doesn't mean you have to stay with them. And just because you love somebody doesn't mean you can stay with them. But it doesn't stop you loving. And, you know, I've had long relationships, 10 years with Jill, 10 years with Archie, and 10 years with Jeffrey. And those relationships were deeply, profoundly important to me in my life. And
there are different types of love. There's not one type of love for everybody.
Well, I do think there is one kind of love, which is unconditional love. And that is the love without judgment. And that unconditional love is for ourselves, for each other, and for life itself. And love is love. But it doesn't mean you have to like the person or the situation.
Yeah.
You just have to allow it. For me, love is allowance. So, allow my relation, allow me to be me, and I allow them to be them. And if it's resonant to stay together, you stay together. And if it doesn't feel resonant, then you don't.
I want to move on to your sons.
Yes.
I remember when they were born. How old are they now?
Flynn is 26 and Sai is 21.
You say in the foreword of the book that they've been your greatest teachers.
They have.
What is the thing that they have taught you that only they could have and nobody else can?
To be a mother.
It's magic, isn't it?
It has been and to be unconditionally loving. That nothing I'd never loved like the moment Flynn was born. He was my first real love. And he was born on the day of love, Valentine's Day. And he's been a source of an expression. The relationship we have is an expression of love both ways. And so they taught me to be a mother. They through their birth, I became a mother, and that has been such a phenomenal, beautiful experience.
It's unique. It's a great thing, isn't it, when it works? I want to talk to you about what I call my mental laxatives.
Right.
Sometimes when I'm energetically or like
in flow.
No, out of flow.
When
I'm stuck. When I'm stuck.
Constipated.
Like a poo.
Yes.
Like a poo. And I'm like, I can't do this. I set about my mental laxatives, and I've got 3 of them that I've tested and tried, and they work. One is walking.
Yep.
And it always gets me going.
Yep.
The other one is building a fire for some reason. That gets me going. Or the last one is making food without a recipe. So cooking specifically intuitively. Yeah.
I thought she was going to say Welco for a second there.
Yes.
No, creativity is a big one, and nurturing.
Do you have any mental laxatives, Elle Macpherson, where you go, I got to get out of my head now. This is going to work.
Absolutely. And I have the other situation, whereas I can get so busy that for me it's about slowing down and taking a breath.
I don't know how to slow down. How do you slow down?
Well, there are plenty of things you can do. Breathe. Just sit quietly and breathe. Feel your breath going in, feel your breath going out.
How long for? How long for?
Sometimes it's
I'll set
only
a timer.
Sometimes it's only a couple of breaths. A couple of breaths. Just pause and listen to your heart. Listen to your inner sense. Listen to your inner urges. And because ultimately, look, the brain is a great administrator. Only the heart has the answers, and so you've got to check in. Check in with the heart for the answers that you think your brain's going to give you. And that's been a huge lesson for me over life. And especially as I came from a very sort of academic upbringing where it was like, I can figure it all out. I can work it out. There's got to be a right way. And what's the answer to things? And sometimes logic and, this computer that we have in our head doesn't give us the best information.
No.
It's about getting quiet, slowing down, taking a pause, dropping into your heart.
What you just said is my favourite quote of all time in a nutshell from The Little Prince. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye.
Absolutely. And I wholly have experienced that in my life. And I talk about that a lot in the book, using your heart as a compass.
Yeah.
And that's why, as I said, many people might think that this book is about my life, but it's really not. It's about your life and life in general.
In general.
Yeah.
What's your idea of fun, Elle Macpherson? After all these years, you've had so many fun, incredible experiences. Right now, today, if you wanted to go and have fun, what would you do?
Jack, come and talk with you and Chrissy.
Correct answer.
Oh, God.
An activity,
you're
though.
a honey dripper.
Activity. What do I like to do? Well, I mean, being for me is always more sort of being in the moment, just going with the flow, being in the moment, being 100% present, doing only one thing, and that's what I'm doing in that moment.
That's a skill.
It is.
Well, it's a practice. It
Yeah.
is a practice, but it gets easier over time. And that's the thing, is that people think, oh, that's so hard. But just, give it a go. And then give it another go. And then give it another go. And it gets easier over
But
time.
that's another skill, to keep on giving something a go. I've got that problem with my kids at the moment. They're like, oh, I don't like that. And I said, yeah, but tomorrow's a whole new day. You might like it tomorrow. Try it again.
Yeah, it's true. Tomorrow is a whole new day. But I always say to my kids, you don't have to like it, but you'll love it. You'll love the results.
Yes,
You'll
Elle.
love the results of it.
Elle Macpherson, what a thrill it is to finally meet you. You have just, blown my mind. Your book is out today. Grab a copy and a coffee.
And a coffee.
Or check out the audiobook, because there's
7,000.
plenty of people that find it really difficult to read,
That's
or they
right.
like to listen to the audiobook. And I read the audiobook, and my beloved Doyle, who is a brilliant musician, plays with Eric Clapton, and has scored the book.
Wow.
So it's like a movie score.
That
so
is
the music
awesome.
is really, really interesting.
For
and
some
it sets the
people,
scene.
listening to the audiobook or an audiobook is their mental laxative.
Well,
Exactly
at least
right.
mental relaxation.
Exactly. Elle Macpherson, thank you so much for
You're
joining us.
welcome.
Now check this out.
The Chrissy Swan Show is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.